I'm going to show you two clips now from this madman talking about nuking Gaza, essentially. Okay, so two clips. We'll start with the first one that most of you probably seen, but nevertheless, I wanted to give you my reaction.
So when we were faced with destruction as a nation after Pearl Harbor, fighting the Germans and the Japanese, we decided to end the war by bombing Hiroshima and Nagasaki with nuclear weapons. That was the right decision. Give Israel the bombs they need to end the war they can't afford to lose, and work with them to minimize casualties. So, can I say this? Why is it okay for America to drop 2 nuclear bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki to end their existential threat war? Why was it okay for us to do that? I thought it was okay. To Israel, do whatever you have to do to survive as a Jewish state. So when we were faced...
Please. Compose yourself, you dumb hick. I wish this guy would learn his own history. He's so illiterate. He's such a raving and ranting, disgusting Zionist. Honestly, like I don't know who taught this man history. What a dumb person. What an absolute dumb person, really. I'll show you the other clip and in a bit, but I first want to tell you that no, there was no need to bomb Japan. That's not my opinion. This is, you can find this in Eisenhower's memoirs. You can find this in the diaries and the entries of the US admirals who were fighting Japan in the Pacific Theater. I mean, who better to ask than them? So, you know, Eisenhower, you could say, well, he was more in Europe. What does he know about the Japanese? Okay, well, then go check what the admirals who were literally fighting the war said about it. Unnecessary. Unnecessary. Okay? Completely unnecessary. Also, what is this comparison? Like did the Palestinians invade Nanking and rape everybody there? You know, like what are you comparing Palestinians to Imperial Japan for? What is that? Like, even if you think, okay, yeah, Japan should have been nuked. Again, why are you comparing the Japanese to the Palestinians? There's no comparison here. If anyone is to be compared in their brutality, it's the Israelis. It's the Israelis. And the Israelis already have nuclear weapons, by the way. I don't know why he says give Israel the bombs it needs. What are you talking about? No arms shipment has been delayed to the Israelis. None. Like, what are you mad about? What are you mad about?
Would you have supported dropping the atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, General Brown, to end World War II?
Well, Senator, I think it just based on the situation where
Well, we know. I mean, it's happened. We know. I'm not asking. They did it. Do you think that was disproportionate?
it was definitely.
Well, do you, in hindsight, do you think that was the right decision for America to drop 2 atomic bombs on the Japanese cities in question?
Well, I'll tell you, it stopped the World War.
Okay. Well, so we had a. Do you agree, General Austin? If you'd been around, would you say drop them?
I agree with the chairman here.
I mean, if we go back in time, says, hey, we got 2 atomic bombs, should we drop them? What would you say?
Well, I think the leadership was interested in curtailing the.
Well, what's Israel interested in? Do you believe Iran really wants to kill all the Jews if they could? The Iranian regime, yeah. Do you believe Hamas is serious when they say we'll keep doing it over and over again? Do you?
Iran have the largest Jewish community in the Middle East after Israel. Let me repeat that. Iran have the largest Jewish community in the Middle East after Israel. So no, obviously they don't want to kill Jews, you stupid, stinking old man.
Do you agree that they will if they can?
I do. Hamas,
okay,
but
right. Do you believe that Hezbollah is a terrorist organization also bent on the destruction of the Jewish state?
Hezbollah is a terrorist organization.
Okay, so Israel's been hit in the last few weeks by Iran, Hezbollah, and Hamas, dedicated to their destruction.
You know, I feel like I have to apologize to you for showing you this stupid, it's like I'm losing brain cells just watching him, He's just like this, it's like he can't even speak properly, he's like a drunk, he's an old white evangelical Christian, Christian in quotation marks, who's just, he's so drunk on Zionism, his speech is slurred. Israel, Iran. And you can see how nervous they are. They're looking at each other. Yeah, oh, yeah, they're terrorists. Oh, yeah, yep, they are. Yep. Yeah, I would agree with, yeah. So, no, there was no need to drop an atomic weapon. And the only reason that the United States did that was to, in essence, attack the Soviet Union. Now, obviously, they didn't bomb the Soviet Union, but it was meant to scare them. It was a show of force. Do you understand? So it was a psychological affront on the Soviet Union, absolutely, without question. Actually, the Soviet Union were getting ready to go into Japan and invade, because they had just invaded, or rather reached Germany and Berlin first. So, you know, they were ready to take on Japan. It's just on the other side for the Russians. They have the largest country on earth. So, you know, it's the idea that there was some imperative to drop bombs, absolute rubbish. Anyone who tells you this is either an ignorant, lying fool or a lying, ignorant fool. That's the only choice they have. Yeah, it's really so historically illiterate to say that. It's just propaganda. It's Cold War propaganda to say that. Not even World War II propaganda. It's just Cold War propaganda, because the moment the United States dropped those bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, it was the beginning of the Cold War. Do you understand? You know, you can even go further back than August. You can also look at beginning of 1945, much earlier, as the beginning of the Cold War, because, you know, of various reasons, internal reasons that weren't made public and so on. But nevertheless, it was just a show of force against the Soviets. That's it. And it's the reason why the Soviets then went and got their own nuclear weapons, and then this is known as the arms race and so on. So this Yahoo over here is no clue what he's talking about. I mean, he's either ignorant or he's lying, or both. He's definitely a both to me. So, you know, honestly, he's got like such a hard on for Israel. He's something wrong with his brain. Really, something wrong with his brain. People like this have something wrong with their heads. They really do. They don't know anything about their own history. They don't know anything about world history. They don't know anything about you know, humanity, about international law. They're just lunatics. You know, I'll just remind you that Lindsey Graham is the same scumbag who sat in Congress, and then he gets Mike Pompeo to confirm to him that they have put sanctions on Syria, and that even Assad's son, who's like barely 18, like, what are you going to sanction? His non-existent bank account, his savings account? Like, what are you sanctioning? What does that have to? He knows the sanctions don't even affect them, you know, because like usually the sanctioned parties, they're government leaders, so they're living comfortably. But then the rest of the population, they get screwed with the sanctions. That's how sanctions work. And so the idea is like, I'm going to make your life hell, so hell that you will rise up and get rid of your leader for me. That's the idea behind sanctions. And so, you know, he's a monster. Lindsey Graham is a neoconservative piece of work. He's a neocon, okay, which is the dirtiest word in Washington. And that's what they all are, really. If you look at Biden's politics, if you look at Obama's politics, they are all neoconservatives. Trump, they are all neocon scum. Never forget that. This is who we are dealing with. The Israelis, all of them, they're neoconservatives at heart, okay? Again, YouTube demonetized my channel because I'm not allowed to say naughty things about Israel. You know, telling the truth is forbidden. So if you are able to donate a few dollars on PayPal or on a monthly basis on Patreon, please consider doing it, because it would really help me continue my journalism and support independent media. So I'd be very grateful. And the links are in the description and also in the chat. Thank you guys very much again for all your donations and all your kind comments. I appreciate it very much.